Welcome to another week of Podnutz, a computer repair podcast. We'll be starting here in a couple minutes. Just checking the live feed. Hey, Chris, do you have a fancy printed out on-air sign like I do on my door?
No, not nearly as fancy as yours, actually. Mine's more like, shut up!
That's what I used to.
I sent mine away.
Keep it down or else. All right.
You want to have dinner tonight? Cool.
Exactly. Listen to your father. Oh. All right. We got some people in the chat room there. All right, everybody give me a sound check real quick, one at a time.
Check 1 2 3. Check 1 2 3.
Check 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Sounds
good. Okay. We're good, and we are recording on that end. Okay. If you guys are ready, make sure my phone's off.
You're watching for the phone calls, right? Is that a problem last time?
Yeah.
It's always a problem, Jeff. It's almost like he doesn't have to answer his own phone.
Yeah, you know. I don't. So, all right. Whatever. I'm hoping, so now if I shrink this down, Chris, it's supposed to pop up on me, correct?
When a call comes in, yes. Just make sure it's on a screen that you'll see it when it pops.
Yeah, right in front of me. I think I fixed that problem, so we'll see. Okay. Let me get this out of here.
See, I got even more fancy. There's a button right here on the side of my head that answers the phone for me. Look at that, right there.
Maybe we should have you answer the phone calls.
How am I going to put it in the recording? See?
All right. I think we're all set. Oh, I guess I probably should change that number, huh?
What'd you do?
We are on 101. All right, and I've got everybody on here. Okay. So, here we go. Welcome to Podnutz, a computer repair podcast, episode number 101. I'm Jeff Halash. Hey, this is our live call-in show for computer repair techs. The call-in number is 1-888-697-0162. And let me introduce the co-hosts to you guys this week. This week we have Chris Carruthers from the Remote Support Tech team. How you doing, Chris?
Not bad, Jeff. How are you today?
I'm doing excellent. I got to play some Battlefield 4, and I'm psyched and ready to go.
Woo!
And also joining us today, we've got Matt Rainey from Podnutz Pro and InformedIT.net. How you doing, Matt?
Just great, Jeff. Thanks for having me.
No problem. And also joining us today, we have none other than Marvin Bee from MBSystems.net. How you doing, Marvin?
I am doing Facebook fantastic.
Is there such a thing?
I hope not.
Oh, wow. Facebook fantastic. I don't think I've ever heard that one before. I'm going to use that. Can I use that?
You can use that.
Isn't Facebook one of those taboo words we're not supposed to use on this show?
Well, no, it would be taboo if we said the Facebook. But Facebook is okay.
Gotcha.
Isn't that what our customers call it?
I'm glad we got that distinction. Didn't it used to be You know what? Never mind. I'm not going to get into that conversation.
They just call the internet now. They think Facebook and internet is the same thing.
There you go. There you go.
The www.
Yep. The only thing that used to crack me up even more was when people would say, my Foxfire is not working right.
Well, they still say that. Yeah.
Yep. They sure do.
I have not heard that in a long time, but that's
I
fun.
hear it all the time.
Oh, my Foxfire. Okay. Oh. Well, anyways, you guys know this is our live call-in show. If you have any questions or you would like to be, say your piece on the show, please give me a call. I am watching the phone as we speak, and the number is at the bottom of my screen. So again, it's 1-888-697-0162. No matter where you're at, give us a call. All right, guys, I think we've come up with a couple different subjects for today. I think one of the things that we're doing is we're going to talk about premium services. I know Chris brought this up to me, so I'm interested to see what he's got to say about that. And also, I think we're going to talk about business clients. And, some of the things that, because on this panel today, I've got a bunch of guys that deal with businesses all the time. I'm the mostly residential tech. But these guys, they deal with business clients and customers, and I'm sure they have a lot of information that they can share with us today. Hopefully it'll help us out, maybe bridging that gap between going from residential to, to businesses, whether it be, a little 5-person computer shop or 10 or 15, 20, 50, whatever. I think these guys deal with all sizes. So, Chris, let's go ahead and start with you. We were talking about premium services and some of the things you were talking about. You said something about QuickBooks, I think you were talking about premium services as far as getting into them to help your clients, your client base out now.
Well, and charging for them. So I mean, the whole point on premium services is it's either more difficult to get into, or it requires specific software or specific training, or something that you're not going to see everywhere else, right? So the QuickBooks Pro Advisor program is the one that we're involved in, and that we're going to be rolling out within the next week or so. Which, I mean, that's a whole separate thing, but that's just one example. There's Sage Simply Accounting. There's a whole bunch of other different types of software and hardware that you can get into. But the point is that you're that guy, or you're that girl, you're that company that can provide this service, and it's something that you can charge a premium for, both because it costs you more money because it's a specialized service. So I mean, if you've already gotten into doing the small scale MSP, if you've already gotten into starting to bridge into those small businesses by focusing on software like we talked about the last show, then you can really hone in and specialize on something that you can bring to your customers that they're going to be calling you for.
Okay. No, that makes a lot of sense. Now, Marvin or Matt, either one. Now, well, let me give you my standpoint, and then you guys can answer also. My standpoint has always been, a lot of times when it comes to supporting things like software and stuff like that, in the past, I've always said, you know what, I really don't know that software. I said we can probably try to figure it out. But when I was supporting, some nonprofits and stuff like that, I would require them to get a support contract, so that as I was supporting them, I could call up somebody and basically say, hey, I need help with QuickBooks or Peachtree Accounting or whatever software we're using, especially some of the older stuff that was written specifically, back in the, Windows 2000 days, Windows XP and stuff like that. Some of these older programs these places had built specifically for them. I'm like, I don't know. There's just too much software and stuff to learn. So, but you're talking about specializing in certain things that are popular out there today, so that makes a lot of sense. And I think, when you're talking about QuickBooks and stuff like that, there are a lot of people that need help, because I'll be honest with you, I'd be one of them. So anyways, Matt, what do you think about that as far as, premium services from your standpoint?
Well, I'm kind of the same thought as you, and that's the way we've been doing our business. Is every business is going to have their line of business application that they use. Whatever that is their main software for their company, specialized, right? Accounting, people have accounting software. Medical field has their medical software. Everybody's got their own. A mechanic shop's going to have his own software to work on cars. So my point of view is, I can't learn every software. Now, I'm not talking about specializing, like what Chris is saying.
Right.
That's specializing. I'm talking general support. General support, I tell the customers, if it's a line of business application, you need to have a support agreement with that vendor. I'll be the liaison. They'll try and talk tech to you. Obviously, you're not talking. I'm the middle person. I'm the interpreter.
Right.
We'll do if we need, we'll do a conference call. You'll be on it. They'll be on it. And I'll be on it. So they won't give you the runaround, because I'm the tech that's going to stop that. I'll make sure, and that's how we'll do it. You'll make it. I'll be the liaison. I can't learn every software in the world. We'll do everything else. I mean, we build ourselves as a full-service computer company.
Okay.
So all then servers, networking, all that stuff, security. But line of business applications is where we kind of draw the line because we can't learn every software out there.
Okay. And then Marvin, what's your thoughts on premium services as far as how do you implement them in your business?
Well, it's pretty much the same way. The only difference I think to do is instead of trying to become the expert in that software for the customer, we will actually work with the experts and join partnerships with them. The best example I could give is our law firms where we do our case management software. A lot of the stuff that they need done will be exchange integration or connecting multiple offices. And so what we'll do is learn all the networking side of it so that the vendor will also see us as an asset to them, so that if they get another customer that needs at best basically premium network services, that vendor will recommend us instead of us having to depend on getting the clients ourselves. But all of the customers, just like Chris and Matt, we force them to get their own support contracts directly with the vendor, because a lot of those questions that they ask, they're simple questions, but sometimes it's a whole lot faster for them just to call support. But if they need extended support, then yes, we'll be on the phone with them, or we'll be the ones talking to tech support on their behalf. It is really tough to try to know all the software for them.
And that's one thing that we do when we're forming people call them retainers or service agreement customers. When we're forming the agreement to present to the customer, that's one of the line items we put in there is third-party vendor management, meaning you contact us, tell us the problem, we'll contact the appropriate people. If it's Peachtree support, if it's whoever, we're third-party vendor management. You don't call all around and you get passed around. It's not my department. You call us, we take control, we take ownership of the problem, we see it through. But we'll call the people who are the experts with that problem, Peachtree, Sage, whatever it is.
Now, Chris, let me understand. So you're basically talking about being one of those support people for a premium service, though, right? As far as like QuickBooks and stuff like that. So what types of things are you doing? Let's take the QuickBooks, for example, because I know you were doing some training in different things like that. What is it you're exactly doing, and how are you going to present it? Because obviously you do a white label service for computer repair shops. Right.
So where we get into when we're in the QuickBooks Pro Advisor program, which we were already QuickBooks Pro Advisors in Canada back when I was just running my own show, and now we have the U.S. license. And basically what it gives us is the tools and training to actually do the QuickBooks support directly with the client, which saves them a lot of time. Right, because I don't know if you guys have ever had to call QuickBooks or have ever had to do, but that's exactly what you wind up getting into. No, this isn't my department. No, I need to get this over to an engineer. And what it comes down to with us is customer calls in, we deal with it, and if we can't fix it, we have a direct line to the engineer that can. So, it winds up cutting a lot of time out of the resolution for the customer, so that instead of taking a week for their problem to get fixed, it's going to take a day or two. And, we can charge a premium for that service because they're getting quicker service. Okay. They can go ahead and they can get a QuickBooks support agreement, but is it going to cover what the support agreement has in there? Are they going to be able to get their help fast enough? Like, those are all the things that we're trying to deal with for our clients. And frankly, QuickBooks is used by the majority of our client base. So it just winds up being a huge market that just hasn't been tapped into yet.
Now let me ask you this, because I'm understanding too. Back in the day, QuickBooks was basically a standalone software program. You would go to the store, get the disc. It updated every year. They came out with a new one. But now they've got the online services. So now, are you able to support both online and the regular software?
Yeah, but there really isn't a whole lot to support with online, right?
Well, that's kind of my point. Is there going to be less support on people that are moving to an online service, or are you still seeing that there's a lot of people that have to have that standalone service in order to run their day-to-day business?
A lot of people are still mistrusting the cloud, which is unfortunate in its own way, but that's how it is. So, storing your data in an encrypted thing, that's one thing. People are more willing to do that than to put all of their financial data online. So, I mean, we can still help people set up their QuickBooks Online. If they need training on it, we can train them on their QuickBooks Online, but there's not a whole lot of support there. So there's a lot more focus on the desktop application than there is on the online stuff.
Okay. Well, that makes sense.
And QuickBooks is I don't consider it really was because everybody does use QuickBooks. Most of our clients use QuickBooks.
Okay.
Now we're different because we have a lot of accounting firm partners. So if I run into something like that, that's not basic day-to-day QuickBooks support, I can refer them to them. But I mean, QuickBooks is almost as easy as for me. The problems I deal with: did you back up QuickBooks to clear the transaction log files? No, not in 4 years. Okay, well let's do that. Your TLG log files 1 gig. Let's run a backup to clear that out. That clears So QuickBooks, you need to know basic things about it to support businesses.
Okay.
You want to call QuickBooks support for every little thing.
And I'll tell you, because I had probably back at the beginning of the year, I had somebody that ran a laptop with QuickBooks on it, which also not only did their accounting, but also did their payroll. And their hard drive was dying. Now, I was able to go in and I found, because it was a little bit older version of QuickBooks, I found where the backup files were, and I backed them up, put them back on his system, but then when he went to reinstall them after installing the software, they did not work. And they were concerned that there was a corruption and stuff, so he was able finally, because he didn't pay for this service, from me, I fixed his computer, but he basically was able to call them, and they were able to remote into his computer and fix the problem.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of those things where you go, I don't know what happened. As far as I'm concerned, all these backup files could be corrupt, or whatever. So you definitely need those types of things and know where to find, certain things.
Well, what I see a lot of times is end users will back up the QBW file, not the TLG file.
Right.
That goes with it. And I've told them, no, just run a QuickBooks backup. It commits all those changes to the QBW file. Now you just need the QBW or the QBB file, actually.
QBB, yeah.
Okay.
So, but and I've come across so many accounting firms that don't realize you have to run a QuickBooks backup once in a while. So, the system backs up the data. Yes, the system backs up the data, but QuickBooks backup does more than backup data. It does company file maintenance, which they should change the name of that from QuickBooks backup to something else, because that's misleading.
Is that something that you have to run manually then?
Yes. Well, I think you can set a scheduled task for it or something, but I mean that's why when you're running QuickBooks, it pops up every third time you close it. Do you want to back it up? Because it does so many things. It does.
Okay.
Right. So you have a TLG file, transaction log file. Every time you work in QuickBooks, it adds to that file.
Okay.
And it doesn't commit those changes. And I've seen a 30 meg QBW file with an 800 meg TLG file. And they're going to call and complain and say, why is my QuickBooks running slow? First thing I'm going to do is check the size of that.
Yeah.
And then, okay, let's run a QuickBooks backup. How's it work now? Oh, it works great now. Okay, well, you need to back it up once a month or so. It's just put a reminder in your Outlook calendar once a month, back up QuickBooks. And then they go through the whole thing of, well, why? The server's back. Yes, but the server's not doing maintenance on your QuickBooks data file. Only QuickBooks can do that.
Okay, that's good to know, because I wouldn't have realized that myself.
Yeah, I see that all the time.
We have clients that also have the online backup, so we'll set up a specific folder for them, and then we'll set it up so that every time they close out of their QuickBooks, it prompts them for that backup, just so that they remember to do it at least once a week, right? But it's for the same reason. It's going to wind up slowing down. It's going to wind up causing you problems, and on top of that, you want to have a good backup that can be backed up onto the cloud server without too much of a hassle, right?
And a lot of clients will have 5, 6, 7 companies in QuickBooks.
Yeah.
And their thing is, it's slow sometimes it's not. But that's because they're working in this company a lot of times, and it's slow. But the other ones are real small, and those work fine. They don't really tell you that. They don't say it's slow in this company. They just know it's slow sometimes.
Sure.
Yeah.
So
that's good. That's good advice, because you have to figure out when is it slow, especially if you're doing different businesses.
I had this problem this past week. A customer saying, we got a new server, but our QuickBooks is so slow. So I just did a search, star.tlg. I found like 15 of them. Some of them were over a gig. And I said, okay. So when's the last time you run QuickBooks backup? What do you mean? When is the last time that pop-up you said, yes, back it up? Well, no, we don't do that. We hit cancel or no. Okay, well, don't do that. Here's the whole thing explained to them, and then we do it, and then it runs great. And, of course, a year later, 2 years later, they'll call back and say the same thing. It's running slow again. When did you back it up last? Oh, what do you mean? Anyway, it goes through again, so.
Sure. Okay.
What we started running into a lot is file corruption without a backup. Where their QuickBooks file won't open anymore. They get some error message, and they haven't made a backup ever because QuickBooks never fails. So, those we had to keep on saying, okay, well, you're going to have to call QuickBooks. You're going to have to call QuickBooks. Well, that was losing us money. That was losing our clients money because we don't, most of our clients, they don't do business the way that you do, right? They're smaller 1-2 man shops. They don't get into all that stuff. So it winds up allowing us to say, listen, you know what? Why don't you send me that file, and I will work on it. And that's what the tools are for, right? All of the things that QuickBooks can do, we can do, and as long as we have the training for it, we can. If we can't, we have free access to an engineer that can fix it. So it winds up being a good revenue for our clients that don't have that kind of managed system with their clients like you do.
That makes sense. What were you going to say, Marvin?
No, I was just going to say that the reason they never do the QuickBooks backup is because they think the server is doing the backup for them. So that's one of the things. But I was going to add that what Chris is talking about doing, where we partner with other consultants that are QuickBooks advisors or QuickBooks support, and they work directly with our clients. And one of the things that we do with a couple of them is they pay us for the service, but then we enlist the consultant to every month go in and they've got access to the system, and they'll check the backup for them and take care of those things. But that's only a couple of customers. A lot of clients don't want to pay for that, so they'll just pay on a one-time basis when they have those issues.
See, I'm surprised because I use Quicken, for my regular banking. I don't use QuickBooks or anything for any of my accounting, but I use Quicken, and Quicken will make a backup file every time I shut the thing down automatically. But it must be because the file structure is a lot smaller, and it knows it just can do that. I'm surprised that QuickBooks doesn't force that issue to do a backup when you're closing a system at some point.
Well, remember, most of the time you're dealing with either multi-user issues where 3 to 5 people can be in QuickBooks at the same time, or you're dealing with it on a shared network drive. Right. I don't know the reasons that they don't force a backup every now and then, but they just simply force the reminders.
Right. Okay. That makes sense.
Well, of course, the users, unless you train them, don't know what the choices. Local, online, they don't. And I tell them, I don't care where you back it up to. Really, we are backing up the data. Just do it so it runs the database maintenance on those files. That's all I care about.
And the worst part too is when they panic when they get any kind of a message. So I had to spend 20 minutes with a client yesterday, telling them that no, it's okay that you're getting that pop-up telling you not to back up on the C drive. It doesn't understand what you're doing. Just hit yes, because it'll warn you like, oh well, you can't back up QuickBooks on the same hard drive that QuickBooks is running on.
Yep.
Well, you can. It's not recommended because they don't think that you're backing it up other places unless you have that set up, so it's doing that automatically. But I mean, just a message like that will make them freak out, and they'll cancel out of the backup. And do you think they're going to call? No, they don't. They don't call. You know what? Oh, it's telling me that I shouldn't do this, so I'm just going to cancel out of that. Next time I talk to them, I'm going to bring it up. And then what happens? They lose 6 months worth of data because it crashes, and they haven't bothered calling in 6 months of getting that error message.
Yeah. Wow. That's I mean this. Unfortunately or fortunately, whichever way you look at it, this is the type of thing that keeps us in business because people constantly need support. I was doing an Acronis backup, speaking of backups, the other day on my system, and I have an internal drive that I use as a backup drive. And the reason I do that is just because everything's on my system. It runs from there. It's fine. And I also have an external hard drive that I plug in every once in a while and do a backup also. But this does it on a regular weekly basis. And it really doesn't want you to put it on another drive, so you got to dig down through the menu, or another drive on your system. It wants you to dig down through the menu to browse and find that one that's in the system because it wants you to do it, off-site or in another like a server or something like that. So yeah, I can see a lot of these programs are not easy for people to understand.
No, for sure.
They'll cancel the backup, send them with a click. Yet they do allow PC Optimizer Pro to install. No problem.
So and And I mean, the point of what I was talking about too isn't so much just software, right? Like, do you guys charge a premium for server support? Do you guys charge a premium for network support? Like, is there something that you specialize in that you charge a different rate for, or do you just charge the same rate across the board and move on?
We charge the same rate across the board for pretty much everything. It doesn't matter if it's server, network, workstation, dropping off a monitor to your office because you don't want to come get it yourself. It's all the same. The only thing we do charge more for is priority rate if they want it done right now and don't want to wait in the queue, and they're not a service agreement customer. They get time and a half per hour. And if we have an advanced network support rate, which is if another tech tried to fix it and then we have to go behind them, we're going to charge them the higher rate.
Oh, that's going to be an incentive to call you first next time. That's for sure.
That's
I like
what it's
that.
for.
Absolutely.
And we've also applied that to some users who have tried to fix it and then call us because they screw it up more than they call us. So it's there in case we need it. Just like you said, an incentive to not spend 3 days fixing yourself and screwing it up more. And now I've got to dig back and see what you did. So
Right. Yeah, and users always make it worse. I don't care what they think.
And there's a nights and weekend rate. There's after hours rate. So
Yeah.
anything past 8 to 5 Monday through Friday is going to be overtime or holiday rate or whatever it is.
Okay. No, so Chris, what types of I mean, obviously you're doing white label stuff now, but what types of things do you charge as far as in your business?
Well, I mean, I used to charge premium when it came to server-based applications. So, like, my rate, I had brought that up to $89 an hour, but I was charging $109 if it involved a server.
Okay.
Specifically because it involved, more knowledge and it involved something more, and it was harder work. So that was the way that we, that we dealt with that. When QuickBooks came in, I was charging $119 an hour to deal with QuickBooks for our Canadian clients. Again, because it was something that we had to specifically be on, we had to pay for the software in order to be able to support those clients, and it's specific software you can't use it for anything else. And we never had a problem. Anybody that needed their QuickBooks worked on, they have already tried calling QuickBooks, they hated the support, and they were looking for Pro Advisors. So they'd go on the Pro Advisor site, they'd find us, they'd call, right? So we were there for those that wanted to pay for it.
Gotcha. And what about you, Marvin?
We're pretty much straight across the board for most things. We do have the same after-hours premium, but we do charge different clients different rates based on the amount of support that they need, whether it's user induced or they've got multiple things that we have to watch. So yeah, the more stuff we have to monitor for them or help them with, we'll charge more. It still comes out to some sort of equivalent of an hourly rate, and then if we have to do extra above that. And I actually have done the same thing Matt did, where if I find out that somebody else has worked on it, we're charging full rate regardless of whether it's normal or not.
I like that. That saves you. I mean, it makes it to where maybe they're not going to mess with it next time and try to be a tech when you're not. I mean, let's face it, everybody's not good at everything, and you've got to pick your battles. And I don't understand people that try to do especially even residential customers that will download PC Optimizer and all these different things like on purpose to fix their machines. Reg Edit or whatever, Reg Pro. That's one I see all the time. It's like, why would you do? All you've done is just basically gunked your system up, and now we've got to come in and we've got more stuff to clean out. Well, we probably could have taken less time, gotten rid of the viruses and malware that were on the system, and had you back up and running. But now, I'm going to have it for a longer period of time to make sure that I get all this gunk out that you put in.
I had a kind of example of this past week. I had a client call me saying our internet has been slow for 2 weeks. I mean, anything you try and do, just bring up a web page, google.com, a blank page, right? Slow as can be. So, of course, the call I got was server down, right? That's what they all say, server's down. Basic troubleshooting, figure out the internet's slow. So I just started ping to their router, to their public IP, and I get like in the 3,000s response for ping times.
Mm.
And I said, okay, so you're not down. I said, it's just really slow. So I'm troubleshooting with them, and I said, my thought process is somebody's got to be flooding the network with traffic.
Right, sure.
But 15 users there. I said, look, they're too far for me to drive conveniently. I said, let's just unplug one person at a time. Unplug this person, no change. Unplug somebody else. The third person I got to, right away, drop down to normal. Everybody was fine. I said, okay, plug him back in. Plug him back in, up, right away, back to 4,000 ping times. So I talked to him. I said, okay, your computer's causing the traffic. I said, do you want us to come look at it, or do you want to bring it to us? He said, well, it's my personal computer. I bought it from the house. I said, okay, so do you want us to come look at it, or do you want to get somebody else? I'll look at it. Okay. So anyway, I said, you can't connect it back until you've got it clean. So then I talked to the office manager. I told the office manager, it's his computer. He's causing a problem. Whatever he does in his computer, he's causing a problem. The next day I called for something else, and I connected to a girl's computer, and she's got some junk, like Optimizer Pro on her computer. I said, what happened? This wasn't here yesterday. Oh, the guy whose computer was slow? He went around and loaded on all the computers saying we'll fix our problems.
No.
Wow.
I said, so wait, the person who was causing your system to be slow for 2 weeks, who's got his computer infected with something, you're taking his advice as what should protect your computers? He goes, yeah, that doesn't make sense, does it? I said, no.
Oh, what are you talking about? It makes total sense. Whoever's having the most problems clearly has done the most research into it.
So I got it off of hers, and I said, this needs to be done. This needs to be removed on all the computers. I said, do you want me to do it, or do you want to go do it? I'm going to have him go do it. And I said, okay, look, you can have him go do it, but my recommendation is I would not let him administer any computers. He's a salesperson. Okay?
Right.
Tech. In my opinion, he shouldn't be doing any tech work. So she said, well, I'm going to tell him not to touch him anymore. But why would you let that person, after his computer's off the network, then he goes around after I hang up with him and installs his on all the computers to fix the problems? I'm sorry, the problem was fixed by moving your computer.
Right.
Doesn't require any further fixing. Okay, it's already fixed. Now you've made it worse again. So, but that's the case where I had to charge him. I charged him advanced network support. If he's going to consider himself a tech, I'm going to charge the higher rate to go behind another tech and fix the work.
Right. No, that's perfectly. Again, most of these people really should not be touching their systems. Let somebody else do it. You're good at whatever you do for your job, but you're not good at everything. So stop. Wow.
It usually only takes, one bill that's a couple of $1,000s that really could have been fixed for $100 for the owner of the business to say nobody is allowed to touch these computers anymore.
Well, and I think from your guys' standpoint, because you're all doing with businesses and stuff like that, a lot of us smaller techs, we really don't think about those things, but it's it's true. It's really what people need to do, because hey, if you're going to mess something up, maybe we should charge you a little bit more, and to fix the problem, because you're causing us more time, to fix the problem. So, or more knowledge to get all the stuff out.
And you've created an emergency. You're trying to do a tech where you've created an emergency where now I have to put you basically priority support. So the advanced network support, priority support is kind of rolled in together, right? So you've caused a problem. Now I've got to drop what I'm doing to fix your problem because you made it worse instead of having to call us first. Before it was an inconvenience for you. Now it's a major issue.
Yep, exactly. Well, and it comes down to even I don't understand the customers that will have a slow computer for 6 months, and all of a sudden go, they don't bring it to me. Now this is me. Maybe this is not everybody else. This is me. They don't bring it to me until Internet Explorer cannot get online. Yep. By that time, it's 6. How long you been dealing with a slow computer? About 6-7 months. If my computer, if I click my web page, which for the last 4 weeks has not been true, but if I click it and it doesn't go up right away, I'm like going, man, this is too slow. There's no reason in the world I should ever see a little spinny circle on my web pages. Never. So, but I don't get it. But people do that. I'm like, man, this is like dial-up days, you know?
They do that, and it's usually because it builds up slowly and slowly. So it's not like one day it was fine, next day it was 5%, 98%, 97%, and they get used to it, so they're desensitized to the change. So,
good point.
But
yeah, and you really wind up having, it depends on what they're using it for too, right? Like, my mother is a perfect example of this, because she'll get infected with something, or she used to. I installed my stuff on her computer now, but she'd get infected with something and leave it alone because the only thing she uses her computer for is bingo, and that's it. So as long as her bingo works, she really doesn't care what else is going on in her computer until bingo stops, and then I get a phone call. So the way that I see it is every user is my mother, and I'm not going to hear from them until they can't play bingo.
Okay, good point. Well, and I think we've talked about this before, but I'll reiterate it again. Is I will have customers ask me, how do I not get infected? And I'm like, we can slow it down. I don't know that we can keep you from getting from getting infected over time. Depends on your habits, what you do.
Well, the way to prevent them is it takes a lot of user training. You have to increase their knowledge about what they're doing, what they're clicking on.
True.
So the only way to prevent it is for them to have more knowledge than they have.
Yeah.
And most of the time, people don't want to learn more things. They're like, again, they're good at what they do.
No, they want you to install a software that's going to be this will protect you from everything, and it doesn't exist.
Right.
So.
Yeah. And I mean, and that's when those are the customers that you have to take the pop-ups away, right? Set them up with Ninite, set them up with Unchecky, do everything that you can to minimize the risk, and hopefully you won't hear from them for a while. And if you do, well, you did everything that you could. They don't want to learn.
Right. Because again, an antivirus, I don't know. Every one of us has had infected machines, and I could rattle off 20 different antiviruses, and they've all been infected. So
Yeah, and like I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I tell customers, antivirus like the flu shot. Doesn't mean you're not going to get the flu. Right? You can get the flu shot and still get the flu. You can have antivirus still get infected. The flu shot's just one layer of to help prevent it. You get a different strain, whatever you might get. It might not be as bad as the real flu, but the flu shot's not going to 100% guarantee you're not getting the flu.
Yeah.
Dude, that's awesome. I'm going to write that down and use that. Where's my pen? That's great. That's a great analogy. I never thought about it like that, but that's exactly why I don't get the flu shot. But anyways,
I have an X-rated version of that too, but I won't go over the X-rated version.
Not Of course, you had to say it, didn't you?
Yeah.
Oh man.
I almost didn't laugh too. It was really close.
I know. It is funny, but so yeah, I think there's definitely. So Chris, as far as what you're doing with now, how many premium services do you want to become an expert in order to support? Because obviously your business is a little different. You're a white label computer repair business. Are you just going to deal with the top 5 things that people are using out there, or what's your thought process on learning and actually becoming support for premium services?
Well, that's the problem, is that you can't make those decisions without really seeing what the market needs, right? I see a market need for QuickBooks support. Okay. I see a lot of people struggling with QuickBooks that don't want to call the QuickBooks company because they don't like dealing with them. So this is something that I'm already familiar with. I just had to take a few more tests and pay for a new license, and I'm gold, right? But you don't want to overstretch yourself either when it comes to things like this. If you've got 5 guys in the shop, you're probably not going to have 5 different programs that you're going to have a dedicated specialist for, right? So you pace yourself. You take a look to see what the market need is, and don't throw away money if it's not something that your customers need, or that you can't get customers locally that need it. Don't invest in it. If you think you can, great, give it a shot. Right, because the important thing there is going to be whether or not you're going to be able to make back your investment, and if it's going to be worth the time that you put into it.
Right, that's a good point. Yep, no, I agree. Those things that we, again, you can't be an expert in everything, and that's why I've always looked at certain things as far as the people getting a support contract and kind of like what Matt was saying, and I think Marvin too, is that being that liaison in between. But I also can see a use case scenario for taking a service like QuickBooks and becoming the pro advisor, especially for what you're doing.
Yeah.
because now you can handle those types of problems where people aren't having to call somebody else to deal with it. So I think there's two different ways of looking at the solutions, and I think both are viable in this industry. You just have to figure out, I would rather have you as my QuickBooks Pro advisor than, to learn it myself. So I think that's a good business decision for you. It makes it a lot easier.
And, QuickBooks is a little different than most places because QuickBooks, I don't think they offer a maintenance agreement. I think every incident is paid per incident anyway.
They offer a basic maintenance agreement, but it's basic. So it's like, I don't know how to do this, and now they're not going to charge you to show you how to do it. I can't open QuickBooks. Well, now it depends on what the problem is.
Yeah, they're not going to repair your database for you, or
exactly.
Set up any kind of a networked multi-user access. I mean, I think it's very basic. Everything I've always called for or had a client call for has always been a paid incident.
That's right, yeah, and that's where they start falling short. Is that they'll charge the clients $20 or $30 a month, I think it is, for basic training and basic support. But then when it comes down to, hey, I'm getting this database error when I try to launch QuickBooks, their response is going to be, okay, well, we can help you restore from backup, but if you can't do that or if that doesn't work, then we're going to have to get our engineers working on it, and it's going to cost you. And that's where the gap comes in, where you either have customers who just don't want to deal with QuickBooks at all, and we have a bunch of them, or they don't want to roll the dice and take that chance. They just want somebody to handle all of it. And that's where we're going to step in and fill that need that our customers are telling us is there.
So now if you need, hey, where do I set up the database? Where do I, if you're doing it on a server and stuff like that, where do you get that support from as far as QuickBooks is concerned?
Knowledge base. They'll send it to a QuickBooks knowledge base. Yeah.
You can get just about anything out of there. If you're a QuickBooks Pro Advisor, you're also given specific training. So you have an entire password-protected training database that you get. And worst case scenario, you have a line with the QuickBooks engineers. So if there's something that I can't fix, I can call them, and they'll assist me with fixing it, and it's included in my Pro Advisor membership.
Okay.
Yeah, I see QuickBooks installed wrong all the time. But yeah, if you have a basic support, like he's talking about, if you call them, they'll just send you links to QuickBooks FAQ or knowledge base articles.
Yeah, and it's not to say that they don't have some good QuickBooks people, right? It's not to say that QuickBooks doesn't have good support people, because there are some. I've spoken to them, but it's just like anywhere else. You call your internet service provider, you call your computer manufacturer, and you have somebody sitting in front of a screen that's reading the script, telling them exactly what to say until you get to the engineer level.
Don't even get me started.
So, Jeff, I'm sorry. I know this is a sore point for you right now, and I apologize for bringing it up. But this is it, right? Is that they're dealing with these, I don't want to, actors, right? They're dealing with these people who say that they know what they're doing because they have a database in front of them and they're just reading the script until it gets escalated. So these people don't want to call those support people. They don't want to talk to these people just reading off the page because it's not getting them anywhere and it's wasting them time. When you have a business and their QuickBooks is not working because of a serious error, they don't want to wait to get escalated. They want to just have it dealt with.
It's funny because we were talking about support, and so everybody knows my internet's been flaky for the last 4 weeks, and it just randomly drops. They've replaced everything that they possibly can, and they still can't figure out why it does it. Whatever, issues. There's no issues in the house or whatever, but when I call up for support to my internet service provider, I basically have to tell them, listen, I'm not going to unplug the modem. I'm not undoing the coaxial cable. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to send somebody out. And we need to not send a regular tech out. Let's send a lead tech out or a supervisor or whatever. And, then I'll, when they come out, I get a phone number so I can call them back. But I can't, they're so busy, I can't get a hold of them anyway. And it's frustrating because I was telling Chris yesterday that my ISP came out and they got kind of mad at me. The technician who was here got kind of mad and said, not maliciously mad, just you could tell he was a little upset that I had changed the password on the modem/router from their company, and that he couldn't get in the system to take a look at it. And I'm like going, yeah, this is on my network. Why would I want people to have access outside? Well, long story short, there's a backdoor password anyways. And I had a discussion with one of their network people, and I said, I can get in this without being connected directly to it, no problem. I said, so can you guys. I said, so this is a known password that you can't change, and and it's out there. Well, a lot of people don't know that. I said, you know what? There's this thing called the internet.
Yeah.
I said, if it's not out there right now, it'll be out there shortly. And I'm not going to put it out there because I don't want anybody to to mess with that stuff. But it will get out there, and they kind of irritated me because when they went to hook up my modem/router, they said, well, this router has problems with its firewall, so we're gonna uncheck the firewall. No firewall. Oh, okay, that sounds not real safe. And then we never put NAT mode on. It's got to be in bridged. Oh, okay, no firewall. We're in bridge mode. No NAT going on. Okay. And what else are we going to do? So I'm looking at the system and I'm going, I said, this is why I'm in business today, because you're setting these up that most people use them. I don't. I have an extra router that I use myself, so I set all my own stuff up. But a lot of these people are using these systems that are put in a house that they're not controlling. And I'm like, and these systems are wide open to the internet. I've always told people, I say, hey, you're good as long as you have at least a good hardware firewall in between your line and your computer. Well, I can't say that anymore because they're not even setting them up properly.
We can still say it if you have it, and they don't have it, right?
It's like, I mean, I don't know if you deal with any of that stuff, Matt or Marvin. I was just floored when he was setting up. Oh yeah, this doesn't work. That's why we got to turn it off. Didn't we fix the problem?
Right. We have that. We do mostly business, but there is one. I won't mention say they are, but there is one ISP that was doing mainly residential stuff. Then they started getting the business stuff, and they were bringing residential modems into the businesses. You couldn't. You couldn't do static IPs on them. So none of the businesses could have static IPs. I'm like, well, okay, well they have Exchange server, they have this and that. They had a static. Well, we can't do that because of this modem. Okay, well that's a residential modem. Don't you have business modems? You're selling this as a business ISP.
Right.
Well, no, we don't have any business ones. Okay, well then you tell the customer that you told them it was a business, but it's really not. I mean, so now we can't use it. Anybody who's wanting to use them, we have to tell them, do not use them, unless you don't want your mail to work, unless you don't want to have these features. Go ahead and go with it. But if you want those features, don't go with them.
Yeah, no, I agree. That doesn't make any sense. If you're going to offer a premium service as a business or for businesses, you absolutely have to have control. And I was trying to explain to them that I have to have. I said I'm not going to call every time my system goes down when I can log into the modem really quick and look at it and go, okay, maybe something changed or let's see what's going on. I said I need to have that access. And I basically told the one lady, I said, she's like, oh, yeah, we don't give the username and password out to the customers. And I just told her, I said, we're going to have to rethink that. Okay.
So they don't have a modem only? You can get your own router? There's no modem only device they can bring out there? Put your own router behind it?
There probably is, but because I was trying to eliminate why my modem was basically resetting all the time, I didn't have them put it in because I pulled my router offline, and so I was using their equipment just to make sure that I didn't have any bad equipment, which, my router is only a month and a half old, and it works fine. I mean, I'm on it right now. So what I did today was I went out and bought a new modem. The problem is I buy the latest, greatest, whatever it is. It's a Motorola SB6183. Surfboard modem, just a modem. It's just basically a gateway, to the internet. And so when I went to hook it up on a system, they got an IP address, no problem. I don't know if they had the firmware support yet. So when I call back later today, I'm going to find out if they do, and I'm going to try to put it on the system. And if I lose my connection again, one more time, over the next whatever, I'm going to be calling Comcast and switching my service. So that's where I'm at.
You only have one job, guys. One job.
It's crazy. And I've sat out there and talked to them and said, okay, could this be causing it? Could that be causing it? It got so bad they thought it was a ground issue. I go, okay, I'm not an expert electrician. I know enough. I said, this house was built in 2003. I said, there's no electrical ground issue. I said, I'm looking at everything. I pulled the box apart. Everything looks like it's done just right. Now, do I know for a fact? No. But they basically have 3 ground wires on my coaxial cable.
Is this a real company?
They're huge. And I've had them for a long time in both places that I've lived, and I used to have excellent service. I come out here, and I really think that I think there was a broken line when they went to re-engineer it to get the signal to certain places. I literally believe I pulled too much data up and down on a consistent basis that I've probably caused it. That's why mine's shutting down and nobody else, grandma and grandpa next door that got the 15 down and 1 up service that check their email and Facebook every once in a while, they're not seeing it.
Have you checked with everybody else in your neighborhood to see if they're just throttling you?
That would be well. Here's okay. So I've had a maintenance person out here who spent basically the whole weekend. I had his number. I called him. Hey, I'm down again. He gets on his software. He can look at all 300 modems in my area. He showed me, and he scrolls through them and find. Okay, here's yours, and okay, yours went down, but nobody else on either side of you did, and we don't have any outages. One time my neighbor went down with mine. Theirs came right back up. Mine didn't. I mean, it could be, it absolutely could be, but nobody's come to that point where they're going, oh yeah, you're getting throttled.
What about your toggle switch? The little flicky thing that you have to flick.
Oh no, I wasn't even doing that. They wanted me. It got so bad. We already had 3 ground wires on there, 2 to the ground rod outside, and 1 on the inside of the house going to a water pipe. It's all done right. I mean, it's the way you do it, but whatever. They wanted to put a toggle switch on there to see if I was, so I could de-energize it for a second between the coaxial cable and my modem. And I'm just like going, the other thing you wanted to do is that, well, we could get real extreme. We could pull a wall plate off the wall. We could ground the modem directly to, the inside of the wall plate. I'm like, absolutely not. Not pull my wall plate off.
Next thing we're going to do is put a lightning rod up on top of your house because clearly this is being caused by static electricity in the air.
I'm like, it worked fine before this last month, and something's changed. I said, you guys now, in the past, for the last 2.5 years, I've had a sync problem every time I go to, and I don't have to do it often, but if I would unplug my modem and plug it back in, it wouldn't sync up to the node. It never made that handshake agreement. It just restart. Within a couple hours, it would finally catch one time. The speeds would be fine, and I was able to use it no problem. But then if the modem ever locked up, I'd restart. So.
Yeah, I think I'd be switching if I was you. I think it's about time.
Hey, my wife's beating me up big time. She's just like, you've given them enough chances. We just need our internet because
here's what you do.
Okay.
You switch to Comcast. You don't tell your wife you're switching. You just switch, and then when it's working good, you tell her I fixed it.
Right. Hold on, guys. We got a phone call coming in.
Yay.
Hello, hey, welcome to Podnutz Computer Repair Podcast. How you doing?
Hey, Jeff, this is Delano. How you doing?
Hey, Delano, how you doing? Good.
Hey, I might be a little behind, but I was trying to jump in on the networking issues you were having with Comcast.
Actually, it's not Comcast. It's the other one, but I don't want to mention them by name. just for liability's sake at this point.
Sponsor.
Yeah, because I'm on the other side of the bridge from you, and I have Comcast, or wherever you want to call them. And I had the same issues at one point, but I had them bridge my modem. I put in a FortiGate, and I monitor their equipment and my equipment to see who's at fault.
Okay, so what did you put in to monitor your equipment?
Well, I have bought my own modem like you did.
Okay.
It had Comcast put in bridge, so I control all the traffic that hits my firewall. So I have a FortiGate firewall.
Okay, gotcha.
And from the inside, of my network, I monitor my FortiGate. It tells me when it goes down, when it goes up. But I also have a ping that monitors Comcast device. My default gateway going out. And I have that set up on a remote site outside of my home. And if one of them go down, it'll tell me who's at fault. So if my default gateway goes down, we know it's Comcast. If my firewall goes down, we know it's me.
Gotcha. Okay, no, that makes sense. But is everybody seeing the pattern here that we shouldn't have to go, as consumers, we shouldn't have to go through all this rigmarole just to get internet to the house? Working internet like 24/7, 365?
I agree.
With the text.
You'd think so, but sometimes we know more than the people coming in. The issue that I'm finding, though, is when you wind up with these ridiculous rules that have been put in place. I'm going to use mine as an example. I'm at a residential address, but I have business internet coming in. So, business modem, business line. I have a dedicated line running the whole 9 yards. And I can't get more than 30 megabits per second down, even though there's up to 100 that's available in this area, because a business account is not allowed to go that high at a residential address. For absolutely no reason other than because. So I could switch. I could make my account a residential account, but then I don't get the guaranteed service within 24 hours if anything happens with my internet.
And then I found the difference between residential and businesses, the ports they block too. So you have some blocked ports. Like with where I am, if you have residential, they'll block. I couldn't run an Exchange server here because they were going to block the ports. Business account, they don't block the ports.
Okay, I gotcha. So, and that's why I was going to go with my own modem at this point, too. Even if I switch to Comcast, which they're the other one in the area that I have a choice of, I was going to do their 108, service. So that's why I bought a new modem. I was going to try it on this system, but I think I'm at the point where I absolutely need to switch and, make it work. Delano, have you had any other problems since you've been monitoring your stuff?
No, the only every now and then it goes down, but it's because it got problems in the area.
Okay, that's fair.
But I deal with a lot of networks, so I have a quick number I can call Comcast and say, hey, what's the problem? I don't have to worry about waiting on hold or going through the touch tone voicemail thing, the automated system they have.
All right, off air, you and I are gonna. If I do switch over, you and I are gonna talk because I want that number. Because I've had to collect every text number that's come through my house, and I said, and it's been bad because I've said, listen, I said, here's what you're gonna do. I said, you're gonna check here's the readings you're gonna get on your device when you hook it up in my office. All right, hey, let's go to the pad because that's what you're gonna do next. We're gonna unhook it from there, and you're gonna go ahead and here's the readings you're gonna get from there. Yeah, everything looks good. Oh, okay, yeah, and okay, now let's do this. Let's run a line right from the pad. Let's run it to my garage, or better yet, if it's my electricity, let's run it to your truck, and you can run off the generator there. It's got to be clean power, right? And I said, yeah, we've done all this. I don't know how many times. I said, and you guys are just doing your job. I understand, but I'm sitting here trying to tell you that's not the issue. I don't know what the issue is because I can't figure it out, and I'm a fairly smart guy. But if I can't figure it out, you guys can't figure it out. I said, we're all in trouble because I just need working internet.
Yeah, it's tough, man. And these companies, they're so big that they don't care, right? That's what it comes down to. They don't care about individual consumers as long as they can keep the percentage.
Well, now, Delano, let me ask you a question. Do you have Netflix?
I have it, but we don't normally watch it a lot.
Okay.
Yes.
I just wanted to know if Comcast was still throttling it or not.
I believe so, but
because my family lives off of Netflix. That's one of the other reasons that I have a hard time wanting to switch, because I know right now I don't have a data cap, and I'm between. Right. Well, yeah, that I know. Yeah, apparently, maybe I do. You're right. Maybe that's why they're throttling me. No, it's not. It's definitely not a throttling issue. I mean, I just literally, I'll be on the internet and I can tell exactly when it happens, and everything just freezes up, stops, boom. I go, I look at the modem, and the modem's reset. It's going through its checks.
And that's what mine was doing at my house for months. But of course, they found noise on my line, ran a new line. It's been fine. So, but they could see for whatever reason there were errors building up in my modem, and it turned out to be noise. But they could see the first part was they say we see errors build up, we see it get to a certain point, then it reboots, then it starts over.
Now, were those corrected errors or uncorrected errors?
They did not specify. They just said they see errors building up, and it would reset. So they came out to look and see why I was getting errors when they found the noise in the line. So mine was a pretty easy fix.
Because on 2 of my channels, I get corrected errors, which should not, I mean, 4 of those channels are redundant anyways. But I'm not getting any uncorrected errors. So that's where I'm a little bit, corrected errors, from my understanding, are to a certain point they're normal, as long as it's not abusive, basically.
It still fills up the logs.
Sure.
And I think that the automatic reset is based off of the size of the log rather than the number of extra layers.
Really? Okay.
I'm not an expert. I don't. So don't take that as the word, but that's my understanding of it from when I was working for Roadrunner. Is that it didn't matter if it was corrected or uncorrected. It didn't matter what it was. Just the log gets filled and it crashes. You have to reboot.
Yeah, that makes sense. You have so much space for log files.
Yeah.
That's true.
Of course, you could just fix that by, I don't know, having it clear when it gets full. But hey, I'm not a firmware writer.
Well, and
it clears. It resets, then it clears.
The last tech that came out, yeah. It clear. It automatically clears.
Yeah, every time it reboots.
Okay, so what you're looking at here, Jeff, is a feature. It's
Oh, what an
That's it. We solved it.
Well, the only other thing that now it's been pretty decent over the last day and a half, but the only other thing that they changed was my lease time for the DHCP, and it was at 3,600 seconds, which I think is like 10 hours. The max they can put it on is 2 weeks, so it's literally renewing my lease every 10 hours, which I didn't realize. I never looked at that setting. And he's like, oh, yeah, it's not supposed. I said, well, that's your default setting. Why is it set a default like that if your default is 2 weeks? You guys write the firmware. I mean, if I go through your company, you flash my modem with your firmware.
It's not my department.
On your system. Yeah.
Well, even still, renewing the lease, that's just a couple of. I mean, that's not a big deal. That shouldn't affect anything.
It should, but I don't know. We're just trying to. I was trying to eliminate everything that I could possibly eliminate to find out what was going on. And then of course I've got, I was dealing with that for the last 4 weeks, and fortunately, hey, we were able to do the show, so that's great. I'm having, Chris test the setup I had because I redid my computer a couple weeks ago, and I couldn't get a couple things to work. It kept knocking my microphone off, and come to find out, anytime I hit my mixer a little bit, it kind of shuts off, and I can't tell where the problem's at.
And now we know it's causing the problems with your internet. It's clearly
except it's plugged into a different line and a different surge protector.
No, it's okay. Just don't tell them about it, because that's exactly what the problem comes down to.
Absolutely. So no, I think I had a bad USB thing in my mixer, so I had to unplug that. But I'm able to get everything to work, so we're good there.
If you take the internet out, you won't have internet problems anymore. You haven't eliminated that yet.
And then I wouldn't have a job, I wouldn't have a show, I wouldn't have anything. So
that's true.
Hey, well, go ahead.
Now, I don't know if I'm the only one who's noticed this. I'm starting to notice a pattern with the show, which is that we have more people who are willing to call in with solutions rather than questions. And I'd love to know why nobody wants to ask a question.
Yeah, because I think we answer everything. We just fill up time.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. We're that smart and we're that good that we just fill up time with everything.
Telepathy.
You know what it is there voicemail for the show, right? So they probably listen to the show later. Then they listen and they have a question, but then they forget about it and they don't call in.
You know what? I'm gonna
like our business plans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. Where are we at? Okay, listen, we're a little bit after 5. Hey, Delano, I'm going to let you go. I appreciate you calling in with your advice on that, and I definitely will be getting in contact with you about the whole Comcast thing. when I go ahead and make that switch.
All right, no problem.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Have a good one. All right, bye. Let me see if I can pull, while we're sitting here, let me see if I can pull this voicemail up that I've been trying to play that was for this show. And it was from a few weeks ago on a show we did. And let me see, Podnutz. Tell me if you guys can hear this or not. We're going to see if it's going to play.
This is for Jeff Halash with the Podnutz call-in show. Of course, I don't listen live, so I'm listening to the one from on pricing from a week before. It's kind of an interesting philosophy. Everything that you guys are talking about with pricing is all relative to your area. For example, I'm 50 miles down from Fort Wayne, and I had somebody in a business here in town ask me to do work for them, and I said, sure, I charge $35 an hour. That's what I told them. I thought it wouldn't be a bad idea. It would be just a little work. And they gave me a boatload of work. And then they asked me to put in, I think it's going to raise rates. And I charged a guy in Fort Wayne $75 an hour to do work for him, mostly networking. But then they asked me to put in a wireless network, and I said, that's not going to be cheap. It's going to be a lot of time and a lot of expense. And it ended up costing $100, half of which was equipment. And they never used me again. And I find that they try to piecemeal everything together and patch it and call in Google. And in my area, for example, $49 is the going rate for virus scan removal. There's businesses north, businesses south, and I've advertised $65 and $75 special, and I get no takers. No takers at all. I did $75 on sale, $65. And what I got was emails saying, you know, this place will do it for $49, that place will do it for $49, which means I just can't compete with some of them. And that's got to be something you got to remember is people price you down underneath and just don't get as good a business that way. Just wanted to share my opinion on that with pricing. I find that I just have a few business customers that I'm doing it. Of course, I'm just doing it on the side. I got a full-time 9 to 5, and I'm just squeezing it in. So thanks for the show. Thanks for the great topic for the call-in. See you guys. Bye.
Great voicemail. Yeah, appreciate that. I'm sorry did anybody hear his name? I didn't.
No, I didn't.
I need to write that down next time. That was sent in through Google Voice on our other line, so I didn't get a name on it. But hey, appreciate you bringing that to us. Yeah, and I thought that we'll touch on that subject a little bit because we talked about pricing, and I understand that certain areas you're maybe going to have to make some concessions on pricing and stuff like that. I will tell you this: I thought the same thing. And I've been in a couple different areas in Michigan here, and you know, some not as nice as others. But what I found is that if I charge a really inexpensive price, I would get a lot of people that were a big, huge pain in my butt. So I had to make a decision at a certain point. I said I only wanted certain customers, and there are those customers out there. There's customers that do have money. There's customers that are willing to pay for good service. I've turned customers down when I've had people, you know, say, "Hey, can't you just bring a USB stick over and come clean my computer out and be out of here in an hour?" And I'm just like, no, that's not the type of business I do, because you know it could end up being longer, and if I come there, it's going to be an hourly rate, and you're not going to want to pay the rate that I'm going to charge. But if you bring it to me, I'll do a flat price, you know, flat fee, and you know, to fix your computer. So yeah, area does matter to a certain point, but not as much as you think. I think it's just you just have to find a comfortable area. If you're getting enough business, you know, doing it on the side, and you've got good customers at whatever prices you're charging, that's fine. You know, go ahead and keep doing that. I was getting some very irritating customers that were just irritating me, and when I moved my prices up, I have less work and I was making more money. So that was the balance that I found for my particular business.
Yeah. And I mean, not to constantly be the guy dropping the hammer on the don't lower your price thing, but that's exactly what that is, right? Now, I mean, you're quoting prices like $49 and $69, and I mean that's insane. But I mean, if that's the area, that's the area. But if you're charging $69 and the other company is charging $49, and people are telling you I'm not going to come to you because you charge $20 more, just wait. Don't change your price. Don't do anything. Just wait. Because $49 for virus removal is nothing. And one of two things are going on. They're either not doing a good enough job, or they're spending so much time on it that they're losing money on those virus removals because they're hoping it's going to be a lost lead. They're either going to go out of business, or they're going to lose customers because the computers aren't coming back clean. Wait. You're going to wind up with people coming to you.
Yeah, I don't know anybody who's been in this business that charges cheap prices over the long haul. I've had people in this area, and I've seen their prices, real nice websites and everything, and they've charged it, a $39 for a Windows reinstall. And I said, yeah, and I looked at it and I go, I give it less than a year, and I was thinking, I think about 8 months. They're not around. 3 guys, and you know what? And they seemed, you could tell by their bios and stuff like that they were decent, good, hardworking technicians that really love what they do. But as far as a business, no, they were just. I said nobody's going to continue to do it for that long, especially when you're, whether you're advertising or not or whatever you're doing. And don't get me wrong, I still give people from where I work, I give them deals. I don't charge them full rate and stuff like that because they're people I work with, but that's a choice that I made for those types of people. But I do charge them because guess what? I don't have a bunch of people coming to me for free advice all the time.
Yep.
Like, yeah, I'll fix it. I'm gonna charge you. Oh, that's all right. I don't really. Okay, that's cool.
Well, so when I hear those low prices, like $49 for virus removal, I guarantee you they're upselling a lot of stuff. They may say, "Oh, well, you bring it to me, and you pick it up." Because going to get it's not including that price. This is probably what I'm thinking for these people. It's going to include basic virus removal. Oh, do you need data backed up? Oh, well, that's this much extra. Oh, you know what? You have a rootkit. We can't really clean it. We're going to have to reinstall Windows. That's this much. Oh, do you need software? They might leave with a $300-$400 bill. You only advertise $49, right? So I guarantee they're upselling or they're doing the switch where, no, you don't need virus removal. You need this service instead. So
that's a good point.
That's probably what's happening in a lot of those places. That advertised price is to get them in the door. Once you're in the door, they do what they want with them, really.
Right.
I agree with you to a point, but what we're hearing are these people basically saying, no, I'm not going to go for $69. I'm going to go for $49. The people who are literally going to not do business with you because you're charging $20 more are probably not going to buy the upsell either. So
but see,
a lot of time.
When they get there, and then supposedly a tech is telling them, yeah, if all you needed was a virus removal, it'd be $49. But what you need is this. So they might call you and say, you're $69, I'm going to him, he's $49. But then when they go to him, that's where they get an upsell or the switcheroo or whatever you want to do. Oh, do you need data backed up? Because, this might lose data if we do this. Oh, okay, data backup is 89. So then they start, once your computer's there, I'm assuming they're not going to. Some people will just say, "Okay, fine, do it." They're not going to leave and go back somewhere else. So I think a lot of these people who advertise low rates are upselling them and adding on services when they get in the door.
Even Chris was saying, if they're not, they're not going to be a business for that long.
No, they can't be. I mean, there's no way. I mean, unless he's a teenage guy living at home and he doesn't have any expenses and he can just do this on the side instead of going to get a part-time job, that's different. But if it's a real business, no, they have to be upselling something to make money on it.
Marvin?
I think I told you guys last time I was on here that I see businesses come and go all the time that try those pricing strategies, and they've got the $49 signs on the side of the street getting people into the store, but they're not around. Down here in South Florida, I fight against that all the time. We do have a huge portion of this area that are always undercutting. A lot of it comes from down south, Miami, so we get a lot of people just like in the housing industry and all the service industries where, I know a guy, and this guy can do it real cheap. And I just tell them, go right ahead. and I will never try to match anybody's price for anything.
Yep. And you shouldn't. And you shouldn't, because the minute you start doing that, the minute you start letting other people dictate your pricing, that's when you're going to start running into trouble yourself.
Yeah, no price matching. This isn't Target. I don't price match.
But I tell you one thing that I have started doing probably in the last 2 to 3 years is really laying out what our service encompasses. So in terms of if we're doing a tune-up or we're doing a virus clean and removal, really specifying what it does, because those blue shirt guys and the white Beetles that drive around, I've gotten too many of those computers after the fact where they've gone in because they had a malware infection or something, and they got their computer back and it was white with the new OS but no data.
Well, I'm going to tell you, I just had a customer this week she's up here from Naples, Florida, looking for a job. She is in a hotel on open Wi-Fi. She had a problem with her computer. She went to Staples. These I will throw under the bus because this is criminal, in my opinion. She went to Staples, $149 for a virus removal. She brings it back after paying the $149. She said, well, does everything work? Well, we'd have to do a tune-up for another $50, and we don't think you need that. She takes it back to the hotel. She still cannot get online. Brings the computer to me. I go in there. Now, they did clean up some stuff. I'm not going to say they didn't. But I still found some remnants of some viruses that were still in the system.
Yeah.
And I cleaned I cleaned all that stuff out. I did the repair on the network, the NIC card and all that kind of stuff. And I basically got her back up and running. And I was like, I'm sorry. I have reports I can share with you, but they're not going to care. They're going to go, well, that's a false positive, or they can come up with anything we want. And that is criminal to charge somebody that kind of money and not do the job properly. In my opinion, I don't know that a virus removal can be done without a tune-up. That's just my opinion.
It can't. I agree with you.
So,
but see, the $49 virus removal is virus removal, not a tune-up. You want a tune-up, it's another $50. Now you're up to $99. So I'm
it's $149.
$149.
Yeah, right. Well, I'm saying like those guys on the other one, $4.
Oh, yeah. Right.
They're going to be upselling stuff. They're going to be adding stuff to it.
Yeah,
we removed the virus. Now you can't get online because Windows is corrupted, but there's no more virus. Oh, you want to get online? Oh, we can fix that for this much.
Yeah, but you see, you just this is going to be a whole. I've had clients who come to me and say, okay, you know what, give me your price list, right? I have to know what my clients are charging. And then I get this list, and it's like, here's your virus, and here's your tune-up, and then here's your virus and tune-up combined. And that's the first thing I tell them. I'm taking this virus off of your price list because I won't do a virus removal without a tune-up.
Right.
And it's just, I completely agree with you. First off, 149 should have included the tune-up in it. So, but this is coming back to exactly what I was saying. When you call your router manufacturer, you call your computer manufacturer, I'm sorry, I went through an interview for one of those chain stores for the tech room in the back. First off, the only people who need their A+ certifications don't work there anymore because all of the hardware stuff that involve motherboard replacements, which is all they required an A+ for, gets shipped out. So it's not even done in-house anymore. The people who are working back there are trained on how to do basic virus removals and full reinstalls. And that's pretty much all they're trained on. Then you'll be lucky if you have one guy back there that actually knows what they're doing.
You can swap memory.
Well, yeah, so can my 5-year-old, but it doesn't mean that he's not going to scratch the motherboard on the way in.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. I've had customers bring stuff to me because, and there's a certain place that they went to, initials BB, and they went in and they had bought some sort of extended warranty, and I think even a negligence warranty or something. I can't remember exactly what they had, but anyways, they took it in. It was less than a year old, and basically they turned it on and said, oh, your motherboard's bad. And I was like, oh, so okay. So he brings it to me, second opinion, whatever. So they want him to buy a new laptop. Brings it to me. I start it up, and I go, got a black screen. It's got words on it. The BIOS is still intact. Let's see. Oh, what's wrong with the hard drive? Okay, it's not seeing the hard drive. Or it's seeing the hard drive, but the hard drive was corrupted. What I found out was the computer kept shutting off. The guy tried to do a restore himself, and there was no operating system on there. Recovery partition was still there. So I go, well, let me check it out. I took the laptop apart and noticed, CPU fan's not plugged in. I plugged in the CPU fan, put it back together, started it up, no problem. Hit restore, done.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you mean it's a bad motherboard? That's a bad diagnosis.
No, it's bad because we unplugged the CPU fan, hoping you wouldn't notice.
Yeah.
But
I don't believe those guys take the laptops apart. That's they don't. And I know you can be a part of these other companies where they outsource that stuff. So that the real heavy stuff they outsource to guys like us.
But they are required to. Okay, so again, I'm not going to say what company it was, but when I was 16, I was trying to get my first job in the tech field, and I was at that store. And I was interviewing for the tech shop in the back, and what they had explained to us before getting our actual interview is that we were going to be under high pressure because when the customer brings a computer, they put the computer on the desk and say, okay, this is what's going on, and you were required in front of the customer to very quickly figure out what's wrong to give them a quote, and you have less than 5 minutes to do that.
Oh, wow.
Diagnose a computer. Now, if I turn the computer on and it says, oh, there's no hard drive, I can pop the side off and go, oh, yeah, hold on, the SATA connection came loose. Unplug, plug in, done, here you go. Sure, right. I can do that in less than 5 minutes. But, okay, fine, I know motherboard beep codes. Yeah, it's possible I'm going to get the right beep code. But how many times can you look at a computer and say, yep, this is the problem within 5 minutes? That beep code might not be right. That could be a fault on the motherboard that's telling you that there's a problem with the RAM.
Yep.
So, places like that, what they want to do is they want to make as much money as possible in as short of a period of time as they possibly can. So they're going to take some guy off the street that they can pay minimum wage, throw them in the back of the room and say, yep, you've got 5 minutes to tell the customer what's wrong with this computer. And if their solution is, hey, you know what, that's a bad motherboard because I don't know what's wrong with it, now we're going to take you over to the sales guy so that you can buy a new laptop. Not only did we just make the company money, but I'm going to get a portion of the commission from the sale off of that laptop.
Ugh.
Okay? Those are not the places, before I knew what it was to be a technician, those are not the places that I would take a computer to get fixed.
Well,
for that reason.
Right, and I will tell you this, going back to the pricing issue, I'm going to tell you right now that place is packed. A lot of those places are all the time for tech work, okay? And their bills are on average $300.
Yep.
So if you're going to tell me that somebody's going to, they're going to get a job for $49, $69, whatever, the prices that even I charge, I feel are, they're not low, but I still feel they're fair prices compared to if you have a Best Buy or Staples or whatever in your area, they're getting on average about $300, and people are doing it all day long.
Yep.
Marketing.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Oh yeah, brand recognition. That's the thing. You will trust a brand before you trust a person. And because in your mind, if that technician, if that person did something, the brand will fix it.
Right. But they'll admit they did nothing.
No, they never did anything wrong.
No, it came in like that. And that's so for our individual businesses, we try to, try to uphold a standard, to say that, we do a good job to the best of our ability. And, I want the customers that trust me. If you don't trust me, I don't want you as a customer. I don't.
Yep.
Those are the customers I'm looking for. But that's just how I run my business. Anyone else? Any other thoughts? I think where are we at?
24.
Okay, we're at about 20. Is 24 back on yet?
Man, this is the most on-topic topic ever.
Anyways, well, I think we've had a good full long show, and appreciate the phone calls and the emails and the voicemails and all that stuff. So, let's go ahead and end off the show. And I'll tell you what, Marvin, if people wanted to find you and get some information from you, or just kind of yank your chain a little bit, where would they contact you?
Well, mbsystems.net is the website, MB Systems Inc. in the chat, and Facebook, fantastic.
You know what? I tell you what, somebody better buy up that domain name right now, if it's not already gone. That's great. Hey, Matt, how about you?
People can check out informedit.net. They can find me there. Email info@informedit.net. As a reminder, everybody, that I created a promo code for the forums at informedit.net. The code is Podnutz. You get 25% off of the forums. And again, these are forums for text to PDF fillable forms, and techs can know what they need to document and can document them with these PDF forms. So check that out.
Absolutely, yeah. Head on over there, guys. Informedit.net. He has a free one up that you can download and check it out. These are great things to have to keep your consistent, your documentation consistent. So definitely check that out, and appreciate the 25% off. That's awesome. I will definitely have that in the show notes.
Cool.
And then also, Chris, where can people find you at?
Yeah, so if you want to find us at Remote Support Tech Team for white label tech support, you can call us at 866-568-2813. You can also go to our website at rstechteam.com, and you can find us at Technibble at Carcomp, CARRCOMP. If you're more of an email guy, you can also email us at info@rstechteam.com.
Very good. All right, well, I want to thank you guys for coming on the show and sharing with us today. It's been great. You guys can find me over on the Google Plus at Jeffery Halash or Twitter at TechNutPC, and you can leave a voicemail at this same number where you can call in live every Sunday at 4 p.m., and the number is 1-888-697-0162. Go ahead and put that in your cell phone so that you can call while we're on the air. Or if you want to call and just leave a voicemail, that would be great too. We'll definitely play it. And if you're a computer repair tech and would like to be a guest on Podnutz Daily, email me at podnutzdaily@podnuts.com. And if you'd like to feature your product or service on this show, email me at podnuts@podnuts.com. You guys can help support the Podnutz Network. The next time you're shopping at Amazon, go to podnuts.com/Amazon. And I want to thank everyone for listening and subscribing to the show. We'll see you next time on Podnutz, the Computer Repair Podcast. All right, excellent. Good show, fellas.
Woo!
We had no technical difficulties, thank God. Everything worked good there. So I got the recording. I was relaxed. It was nice.
Yeah.
Appreciate all the information that you guys shared. Yeah, we had a lot of good information on the show, I think, this week. Lots of good stuff.
Actually getting more people in the chat, too, so.
Oh,
Yep.
nice.
Looking
Yeah,
good.
lots of people in the chat.
Oh, yeah. It's growing. We're growing.
Right?
Good deal.
How many, do you have a stat on how many live people we had watching?
Other than I have 4 viewers on this page that I'm looking at, but I think everybody's got that. I still don't understand the whole stat thing of what it actually means. So, I mean, we get, on average right now, we're getting about 100 people that view the videos, but I think most people still listen to the, podcast itself, the audio podcast. So, this is kind of
See, here's what I would love to see, is I'd love to see how many people were watching live. I'd love to see how many people listened to it through the YouTube, and how many people downloaded it on the podcast. Because that would really give us an idea of around how many people are actually listening to us talk. And I know I like hearing my own voice, but I want to know how many people do too.
I can give you the stats on the audio.
Sweet.
The other I have no idea.
Okay.
Because I don't know what basically YouTube counts as a view. Is it 10 seconds? Is it 5 minutes? Is it? I mean, what's a? These are. obviously there's separate IP addresses that are pinging the video, but I don't know what their criteria is.
I think they count on lunch.
You have to stay long enough for them to harvest all your data.
So it depends on hard drive size. Is that what we're going with?
Oh, harvesting your data. The good old Google. Yeah. Hey.
We got to be able to download a cookie, upload a cookie, and prompt you to download something else.
And maybe even eat a cookie. I don't know. It's oh my gosh. Wow. Well, you know what? I do appreciate that we're able to do the show live, and by using a free service like YouTube, which is owned by Google, and we're able to actually do this and have it work out fairly well. Now, I could make these a little more professional. They do give you the ability to basically download the video, and I could do some post production on it, but yeah, I'm not going to do that. Just
with some explosions and. I mean,
I actually have a video bumper, and I thought about playing it, but with all the problems I've been having lately, I'm just like, nah, it's not that important. The only thing, just to let everybody know, the only thing I'm changing is the thumbnail. I'm just putting Podnutz Computer Repair Podcast album art on the podcast itself, or on the YouTube video, because there was one week where I noticed that not only do you get different pictures, some of us look like, because of where Google takes the thumbnails, some of us look like we're on drugs. 1 week my butt was in the thumbnail photo.
Wait. We're supposed to.
How did that happen?
Well, that was when I had a service that had somebody come to my house, and we won't say who, but and they came to the computer fix.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I don't think
nobody's going to be able to guess who that was.
I think my butt was ever facing the camera right here, so hopefully that won't happen to me.
So I was smart enough to get up, and I hit mute on my mixer, not thinking about turning the video off on here. So I was working on my bench computer behind me, and was tearing apart a laptop right here. So for a portion of the video, when nobody's saying anything, or I think Marvin called in that day. Marvin was on the phone, so when the other guys aren't saying nothing, it automatically defaults back to my picture.
We just have fun watching.
Exactly. I was like going, what the world? Oh, nobody said anything, but hey, it worked out. That was cool though. So yeah, so that's the only thing that I changed. I got to change some of the tags in the videos. I had some some minor show notes and stuff to it after the video's up and done. But if somebody can find out, you can't see our lower third. Who can't see our lower third?
Oh, I see it. Okay. Here, you know what? I'm going to get a screen grab of this.
What is it?
So what it is it has all of our faces on the bottom right. Sorry, I got to pause this now because there's too many voices in my head. All of our faces are on the bottom right, and it's covering the phone number on the lower third.
Well, not if you have it open. Oh, are you talking about on the podnutz.com/live page?
Yeah.
Okay.
Our faces are covering most of the phone number.
You know what? That's the size. So we might have to adjust the size of that player then. Okay. Hey, thanks. Who brought that up?
That was... Shoot, hold on. I know who it was. Don't get mad at me. Corin. It was Corin.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
That's why people haven't been calling.
Don't give them excuses. They'll keep it. I put the phone number into the chat like 17 billion times.
It's the size. Okay. I'll work with Dor this week, and we'll get that size adjusted. He just needs to make it longer, or
taller.
Taller. Very good though. I would have never known that, because I have my screen's blown up so big that you guys are underneath my lower third, but the formatting on this is too small.
It's different, yeah. No, yeah. Thanks for bringing that. Honestly, we never would have seen that because none of us monitor that. We just take a look to see if it's working and then close it. Because too many voices in your head makes it very difficult for you to have a conversation.
Yeah, or just have Jeff Halash and then the phone number.
Yeah, you can see half of them. 18869. It is on the video though, right under the description, I did put it in this week. So if somebody does find it live, but on YouTube, they can see that there. But yeah, if you're going through podnutz.com/live, which I think most people are, then yeah, we definitely have to fix that. So it's never been an issue because nobody, I don't think, has ever used a tag that long. That's on my first line, so I want to make it nice and big, and it gives you very limited choices on how to format everything. So we have more people on this. Oh yeah, might have to reduce the font if you can't change the lower third. No, you can't change the font or anything. No, you can't. It's very limited.
Oh, that's not. I mean, you can do a custom overlay,
which I have to build.
Right. Which is way too much effort for Jeff.
Listen. Okay.
Just put the phone number, what your name is, and then put Jeff on the right.
There you go. Guys, I will look at the HTML code, and Dora and I will figure out how to make it a little bit longer so we get the whole thing in there, and we'll do a couple tests on it. So
yeah,
you should be able to.
The trick is we're going to need to have 2 people with us, because where the problem is coming in, it wasn't happening when we had 3 people. When we had 4, it changed the formatting. So we're going to need to have 4 people in here when we're doing the test.
Oh. Well, so this is the only time it's been like that? It looks like from the formatting it would have been that way every time, even if it was just one other person.
The people in the chat are saying that it wasn't happening before, and we don't normally have this many people.
Oh, okay. On how many fades? Okay. You're the producer, Jeff.
Figure it out, Jeff.
Yeah. Can't make excuses. All right. Hey, Corn, I got a perfect job for you. We're going to hire you to figure this out. No, formatting shouldn't be an issue.
And by hire, we mean voluntold.
Yeah, bound, yeah. Yep, exactly. I'm just reading through the chat room, guys.
Oh, good.
Just let them know.
Jeff could hold up a sign.
Yeah.
You know, there's another. Well, the overlay is weird too, because here, let me. So if I do let me see if I choose logo. Oh no, I don't want to do that. That's not what I want to do. I do have a custom upload. Let me see where it is.
Took like 6 hours to get that logo right.
Oh come on, turn on.
See, Jeff, if you had a green screen, you could put right above the right side of your head, right over here. Podnutz.com. Put the phone number over here.
Yeah,
the dancing bear doing stuff.
You know, the custom overlay actually comes up, and you can do like some transparency and stuff here. The problem is, and I was going to do that actually. The problem is, it doesn't. I couldn't figure out how to format it to get it to opposite side, like over here. So that's one of the things. You know, if we were using a little bit more expensive software and hardware, we'd be able to do it no problem because you can customize your own. If I was using Skype and we were doing a Skype session and just uploading it to YouTube and stuff like that using like Wirecast, you can build all that stuff in. But
if we were using a premium instead of a free service, is that what you're saying?
That's right. That's right.
Look,
you get what you pay for, people. You get what you pay for.
Why are you so angry, Jeff? I'm supposed to be the one yelling. I'm supposed to be the one cracking, and you're taking my thunder, man.
I know, it's terrible. What can I say? What can I say? All right, so wax on, wax off. That's fine. Or a scrolling number across the screen. Where's that exit button? Nah, yeah.
Just gonna get a banner, hang on the wall behind you.
There you go. You know what? I won't even
do anything. You just hang a banner on the wall, take it down, put it up when you're doing this show.
Listen, I won't even do that. What I'll do, I got a magic marker right here. Let's go right now.
There you go. Just right on the wall.
Perfect. No, wait, that's what the kids are for. It's an art project. You tell everybody that you're just having them do crafts, and you can get away with not paying them, and there you go.
Or better yet, just a dry erase board back there. You can change the message for whatever show you're doing.
You know, I probably have one of those in the basement. I actually probably could do that.
No, now I'm getting too many of Jeff sitting up at a whiteboard going, okay, now here's how we're going to do this. We're going to,
Then you can diagram during the show if you need to. That's right.
right, that's what I'm trying to avoid, though. I don't want Jeff
Rounders
teaching
here.
the class.
Guys, let's not lie. I love sitting here in my chair doing absolutely nothing but talking.
It's true. Isn't there a toggle that you're supposed to flick, though, every once in a while to keep yourself online?
I just can't. I don't. You know, when it gets to that point, then you get to the point where you're like, okay, you know, and I don't fault the. I mean, these guys are just they're trying to figure out a problem that nobody else upstairs will address. There's an intermittent problem that nobody can figure out, and they go, well, when I used to be out on the doing the tech support, this is what I always found. It's a grounding issue.
Yeah, well, that was back when it was analog, so, let's not get ahead of ourselves.
You know what I picture here is I see some weird solution that some other tech before me came into a company, and I'm doing support for them now, and I'm at this girl's desk, and she says, yeah, flick this switch once in a while. What for? I don't know. I'm just supposed to flick it once in a while. Because this girl took over from somebody else, and before, just like you flick the switch. So this girl's flicking the switch. She has no reason why she's flicking it. And she's having a problem. She says, I know I flick the switch all the time. Is this related? Why are you flicking the switch? What does it do? I don't know.
That's what happens when somebody like 4 positions before you wrote the job description. Right. And it's like, your job is to flick this switch once an hour. Nobody knows what it does anymore, but if you don't flick it, we don't know what's going to happen.
It's like the old thing from Lost. You got to put the numbers in.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Well, it's one of those. Yeah. Well, that did blow up though. And so everybody knows the reason they wanted to put a switch in between the coaxial cable and the modem was to basically it's just to make a quick disconnect and connect, which should bleed any built-up static electricity off the line. Now, the 3 grounding cables apparently weren't doing their job. So I have a grounding issue here that keeps knocking my modem off, but I don't.
Let's just open up the cable somewhere and just flush a whole bunch of water in there, and then you won't have to worry about it.
There you go. No noise, no nothing.
Exactly.
So yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I don't know. I guess tomorrow morning I'll probably make a phone call. And I'm waiting to lose it again because I haven't lost it all day. And yesterday I didn't lose it till like 10 o'clock at night. We were watching Netflix. We were playing online. I was watching Hulu or whatever. Everything was fine. And then about 10 o'clock, my son and I went on and played Battlefield 4, and we're in the game probably a good 20 minutes or so. And then all of a sudden, no connection. Skype went off. That went off. And then, it started right back up. Now, my wife would have never known. This is the one thing I do like about Netflix. Netflix buffers so much in advance that if you're only down for less than 4 minutes, you'd never know. Because it's literally like 4 minutes before you'll lose that where it buffered to. So she's in there watching her show. We're losing connection in here, and her show never stopped.
Unless you're on a PlayStation.
Why so?
The minute you lose connection to the PlayStation network, you have to sign back in, and you can't do that while a video is playing.
Oh, well, this is on a Roku, and it's wireless. But yeah, that's one thing even on my computer, because I've never had, because I don't have to sign in every time. But on my computer, I'm able to, I can lose connection, and the Netflix video will literally run for like 4 minutes.
Now they've made a USB stick-sized computer, and it looks like a USB cable, but the end's in HDMI. You just plug it right into your TV, and it's just a tiny little computer, so you can watch Netflix and stuff.
Oh, nice. Very
nice. It's even smaller than the Roku.
Wow. Well, one of the things I wanted, one of the things I eventually want to do is if I do end up going back to the Skype route, stop using, YouTube or not YouTube, stuff will still go to YouTube, but use a different type of service, maybe a little more reliable or something. Doors even pointed me to these things, the little Nook computers. They're just a little tiny box. They got, HDMI port. Some got display ports. A small amount of memory, whatever, Core i3, Core i7, whatever. I think there's some that even have, maybe like a dual core something or other. But they seem like a nice little box that you could, throw onto a monitor and put Skype on there, and that's all it's going to run is just Skype. And then you plug all that into your, your mixer and stuff like that. And so it's amazing, because right now the secondary computer I use is this big hulking tower I have below my desk, which in this time of year is not too bad, but during the summertime it heats my legs up really bad. So as soon as I'm done with the show, I shut the thing down. It's too hot. You're not talking about a Chromecast, are you?
No.
Chris? Somebody's asking. Okay.
No, it's I'd have to get the link from Corey Fruitman at Instant House Call because he is the one who told me about it when I was on the phone with him the other day, and he said, yeah, you got to check this out, and he sent me the link, and now I can't find it. But yeah, all it was just this little. It was the same size as just a USB memory stick that you'd get anywhere, like the normal ones, not the really tiny ones. And then it had an HDMI port on the one end, and you just plug it right in. It's got Wi-Fi, Bluetooth.
iStick A3000 series.
iStick A3000.
Yeah, everybody's going to the stick now. Roku's coming out with a stick.
Well, here's the thing. Okay, so I had the original Roku Gen 1, right? And my wife watches it all the time. It's in my bedroom on the other side of the wall, hooked up to a 32-inch TV. That thing was so hot, and it was a fairly big box with Gen 1. It got so hot that it basically broke down after it was probably a couple of years, maybe 3 years, and it just stopped working. It could be the electronics or whatever. But now they keep, the little box that I got, the Gen 3, that thing is hot, and it doesn't really shut down except it goes into power saving mode after it's not being used for such a period. What's that?
Screensaver mode.
Yeah, and so but it gets so hot, and I'm like going, our cell phones get hot from watching video or whatever. I'm like, how small can you make these things before they start, not bursting into flames?
To answer your question though, no, it's
that's for signage. It looks like.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It wasn't the iStick A3000. It was an outgoing HDMI. You don't plug an HDMI cable into it. You literally plug this thing into the HDMI port like it's a USB cable or like a USB stick.
Very cool. That'd be great. Oh.
This thing might be used for a client who wants something done like this.
I'll get the link and I will get it to you. Because I want to buy one, and I think it was like a couple $100, like it was cheap.
Then you can just get a little nice, what'd you say had Bluetooth?
Bluetooth and Wi-Fi.
Okay. So you could hook up, either a Wi-Fi keyboard or even maybe a Bluetooth keyboard.
Yeah.
That would be great.
But what I was thinking on it was, hey, you know what? I could plug that into my TV, and that would replace the need of me having a PS3 that is pretty much sitting there being used as a Netflix box.
Well, I don't know if you know this, and I don't know if you watch Blu-rays or not, but that's still the best Blu-ray player out there.
It is, but we don't watch Blu-rays. We use Netflix and YouTube and online streaming stuff.
I'm sorry. I'm after I'm done here, I'm going to watching Captain America on my Blu-ray player, and then Godzilla. And
you go right ahead. I'm not going to stop you. What I am going to do though is enjoy my nice 7.1 surround sound headset that I can take with me to the kitchen, because these things are freaking amazing. And I mean, wow, I'm getting a lot better quality out of this than my old ones.
Yeah, because you're not getting. You know what I was getting from you before, and I don't know if you guys ever noticed it, but in the podcast, even when I did noise canceling and stuff like that, I somewhere on Chris's side was bleeding through. Couldn't figure out what. I don't know what to do. Now with these headphones, there's no bleed through at all.
Chris, what are you using? What is that headset?
It is the G930. It's Logitech.
Okay.
Yeah, Logitech G930.
7.1. Let's see. They work pretty good?
They've been amazing. First thing I did was I ran a 7.1 surround sound test, and you can hear where every single individual channel is coming in. Like I play a lot of games with surround, and it's I know exactly where the gunshot's coming from. It's amazing.
I was going to say, I use the Corsair 2100 wireless headset, 7.1 surround sound.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm doing just bookmarking. What is that, Corsair?
Corsair 2100. It's I think Corsair Vengeance 2100 series.
Vengeance. Well, that sounds serious. Okay.
my problem is that I need to be able to switch back and forth between stereo and surround, because I don't know if you've ever listened to somebody talking to you when you're like, and it's supposed to be coming through stereo, like this conversation right now. Very clearly, we shouldn't be hearing 7.1 when I'm trying to talk to you guys, because it messes you up really bad. So there's a switch in the back here, and I flick the switch, and it goes from 7.1 to stereo.
Very cool.
So I can use it for my phone calls, because I use everything through a soft phone. I can flick to stereo, and then when I'm not talking to somebody, I can flip it back to 7.1 just with the button.
So there's a little thing you can flick every once in a while on there. Unlike my modem, which I would not allow him to put that thing on there.
That's right. That end. I don't know how well you can see it there. There's programmable keys.
Yeah. Because while I'm in a battle getting my butt kicked, I'm going to reach up to the side of my head and press a button.
Okay. Shut up, Jeff. So I take this headphone with me.
Wait a minute. Stop. Let me switch my weapons.
So I'm in the kitchen pouring myself a glass of water, and a phone call comes in. I know exactly who's calling because I can see that on my phone, right? Because it simultaneously rings. Hit the button here. I just answer the phone call. I can start the phone conversation while I'm walking back to my desk.
Oh,
no more running.
That's good. Yeah, that's good use.
And then if I have my iTunes going, I've got, so this is to answer the phone. This is to pause my music. This is to go to the next song. I've got a volume control knob here, which controls the system volume, not just the headset volume. And then I've got the mute button here, or I can flip this up to mute it.
Nice.
So yeah, I got everything that I need to deal with audio right on here, so I can take it.
Now I've never. Mine's always in 7.1. I don't know if it switches automatically when I'm in Skype conversations or whatever, or even Google Hangouts. I've never had an issue where it sounded weird or anything. So
it might depend on the software, because I know that there's software that will auto-detect what sound settings you have. So I know Battlefield does that, so does Minecraft, World of Warcraft, and a bunch of other games that use surround sound. They'll auto-detect what your sound card output is, whether it's stereo, 5.1, or 7.1, and then output that. What Skype might do is the exact opposite, where it detects what you're using, so 7.1, and then forces stereo through it. Because you can use stereo correction on any surround sound system. You just have to have the software for it.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, Battlefield 4, it's the percussion sounds amazing. When I'm getting blown up with a grenade, I mean, it just rattles my whole head. It's like, I can't believe the bass on 7.1 is that. Yeah, it's like I feel like if I'm in a tank and somebody shot me, I just feel like my whole world got rocked. I'm like, whoa. So yeah, it's that 7.1 is amazing on a lot of these games.
And it's only $22 right now. I might join you next time you go.
Oh.
What's that?
Oh, it's Call of Duty 4. Never mind.
Oh. Yeah, wait.
But you don't do your podcast with that Vengeance thing, do you, Jeff? I mean, you don't.
No, I could have. I didn't, because it'd be nice actually to be wireless, but I didn't want to trust it. Now, Chris, he's a new ager, and he'll try anything new. Podcasting from his car, driving down the road, podcasting on the farm, out in the middle of nowhere.
I'm doing it for you, Jeff.
Wireless headsets on his head, just going, hey, nothing's going to go wrong.
That's not true. I tested it first. Come on.
Young kids do, man. Those young kids try all that gadgety stuff.
Yep, I'm old. I did go. I do love the wireless headset, and it is flawless. I've never had a problem with it. I could actually podcast using it, and it sounds fine, as far as the mic and everything. Actually, it sounds better than fine. It sounds really good. But I went from wireless keyboards and all that kind of stuff back to a wired keyboard and mouse.
Oh yeah, I don't use wireless keyboard and mouse. I hate those things.
Yeah.
Because, well, here's the problem. Because I'm an FPS player, which first-person shooter, and I'm old. Basically, every microsecond counts for my reaction time. So
You need your mouse to make up for your slowness.
exactly. So anything I can program in that baby to make it that much faster, if it's got to be corded, it'll be corded.
See, that's now I have the Razer Naga Epic.
Yeah.
And the thing with this one is that the cord is detachable and plugs into the wireless base.
Yep.
So it's completely convertible. You can either have it as wireless or wired. And I like that specifically because, if I want to watch something on this computer, I don't necessarily want to be at my desk watching it. I might want to go to the couch or something. So I can convert it to a wireless and still control the video that I'm watching.
Okay. That's cool.
So I prefer that, but I have it wired in all the time for the same reason. If I wind up missing my sniper shot because it didn't catch that within that 0.1 millisecond delay, then it bothers me.
Yeah. Well, it'll be another, in 10 more years, tell me that.
Yeah, it'll be different. Hey, listen though, I do have to run. For some reason, my kids think they have to get fed 3 times a day instead of just 2, so I'm gonna have to go deal with that.
Yeah, let me go ahead and let me stop this podcast here, or let me stop this broadcast. We'll see you guys next week, Sunday, 4 p.m. Eastern, and we'll have some good stuff to talk about. All right, see ya.